I think one of my greatest inspirations or things that I would feed off of basically was just obviously people not believing in the cloud of doubt that kind of I felt hung over my head and wanted to just prove everybody wrong. You know what I mean? I wanted to make it, and I was going to make it regardless of what anybody said.
One of the things that people do instinctually when there are tough times is they kind of do nothing. and they kind of hunker down.
This is sort of frozen rabbits in the headlights.
Yeah, it's kind of just complete stunned into inaction. And I think that's actually the worst thing to do. I think times when everyone is confused and kind of stunned present the most enormous opportunity because nobody's really doing anything.
We know from our past experiences that big things start small. The biggest oak starts from an acorn, and you've got to recognize, if you want to do anything new, you've got to be willing to let that acorn grow into a little sapling and then finally into a small tree, and maybe one day it'll be a big business on its own.
And in fact, that's one of the mottos for one of your initiatives, and forgive my pronunciation of the Latin, but gradatim ferociter. What does that mean to you? Well,
it means step by step ferociously. And it's the motto for Blue Origin. Basically, you can't skip steps. You have to put one foot in front of the other. Things take time. There are no shortcuts. But you want to do those steps with passion and ferocity.
Optimists are much more capable of changing the world than pessimists are. It's not a guess, it's proven by science. And what do we mean by that? Optimism is one of the most studied thing in the psychology literature, period. It's one of the most studied traits. Optimists are more likely to face a problem than pessimists, because pessimists go, I can't change it, I can't do anything about it, it's going to be that way forever, it's a pervasive problem and I don't have a control of it. An optimist says, well, I could probably handle that, we can change that too. In other words, pessimists tend to avoid problems that need to be changed, and optimists tend to confront them and move forward and do something about it. That's pretty profound, and that's pretty proven now. So yeah, I'm saying, while not all of us can go around being happy-go-lucky and avoiding all of our limits, I'm also saying, maybe it is time that we focus on those things that we can change. Focus on something that's bigger than ourselves and our own little insecurities and worries. And I think that's the challenge right now, with so many people saying, limiting beliefs, limiting beliefs. Look, they're there. You're going to have them. The question is, are they going to win the day?
I think you need to know what your limits are, or what they're not. I answer people that my whole life has always been about testing my limits.
So you'd almost say that the one thing is knowing what your limits are not, so that you can push yourself.
Well, another way to put it is the definition of someone who's reached his goals is he's a schmuck. I've spent my whole life trying to make sure that I never reach my goals.
I love it.
And that I keep adjusting the bar to make sure that I can never say, I'm there.
You got to get really in touch with what you find deeply fascinating about life. It's not about cracking open a book and acing a test. This is such a human, social construct. It's so stupid, this whole idea of test taking and stuff. And I mean, it has value, but it's so limited. You can't be fueled by that. You got to put all that aside. That's the bullshit of studying. That's like the politics of studying. The politics are nonsense. What you got to look at is what's the foundation, the fundamental core of it. And that is wow, I want to really understand life. I want to understand this thing here. It's so fascinating. Or this thing, the way it works is so cool. How can it work this way? How does technology work? How does science work? How come humans behave in all these irrational and weird ways? How come we have geniuses and we also have disastrous people through history? How does history work? How do wars work? How do politics work? How do economies work? How does money work?